Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some extremely important news that could impact you, your family, or anyone you know who is receiving benefits from the Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, in the UK. This March, there are 12 significant changes to DWP benefits, and they could have a big impact on your payments, eligibility, and the support you're receiving. Some of these changes could even affect how you qualify for certain benefits, while others will bring in new guidelines that you definitely need to be aware of. So, if you receive Universal Credit, Personal Independence Payment, PIP, Housing Benefit, or any other form of DWP support, make sure you're paying attention, because in this video I'm going to break down each of these changes and explain how they might affect your life, whether you're receiving benefits yourself or know someone who does. You won't want to miss this. Now, the first change is about Universal Credit, which is one of the most widely claimed benefits in the UK. Universal Credit is designed to help people who are on a low income or out of work, and it includes support for job seekers, the sick, and those with disabilities. Starting in March, there's going to be a small but significant increase in the amount of Universal Credit you could be receiving. Specifically, the standard allowance will rise by £20 for single claimants and £30 for couples. While this increase is relatively modest, it comes at a time when many families are still struggling with the rising cost of living, so any extra support is welcome. However, this increase may not benefit everyone equally. If you are already receiving the maximum amount of Universal Credit, you may not notice much of a change. But if you've been struggling with the monthly payments, this slight boost could make a noticeable difference. I would highly recommend double-checking your account come March to make sure you're receiving the correct amount, as the increase might vary depending on your individual circumstances. Now, let's move on to disability benefits. If you or someone you know is claiming benefits like Personal Independence Payment, PIP, or Employment and Support Allowance, ESA, you'll want to pay close attention to these upcoming changes. The DWP is making some adjustments to the way these benefits are assessed. For PIP claimants, particularly those who suffer from mental health conditions, there's some good news. Mental health issues like anxiety, depression, and other mental health struggles are now going to be considered more thoroughly when assessing eligibility for PIP. This means that if your mental health makes it difficult for you to complete daily activities or affects your mobility, you could be entitled to higher support. This is a huge win for many people, as mental health conditions have often been overlooked in the past when it comes to benefit assessments. Alongside that, there's also going to be an increase in the amount of money provided for individuals with severe mobility issues. So, if you find it difficult to walk or get around without mobility aids, you could see a larger payout to help cover transport costs, equipment, or other expenses related to your mobility. If you're currently receiving PIP or ESA, it's worth reviewing your situation and seeing if these changes could mean you qualify for more support. Another important change to be aware of is the PIP assessment criteria, which will be updated in March. The new rules will place more emphasis on how your condition affects your ability to perform daily activities rather than just looking at your diagnosis. This means that even if you don't have a specific diagnosis that typically qualifies for higher levels of benefits, if your disability affects your day-to-day life significantly, you might be eligible for a higher payment. This new approach aims to be more inclusive and ensure that individuals are being assessed based on their actual needs, not just a medical condition. As a result, it's even more important for you to provide clear, detailed information when you go for your PIP assessment. If you haven't already, consider making a list of the daily tasks you struggle with and how your condition impacts your quality of life. Being detailed and honest in your assessment will increase your chances of receiving the right support. Next up, there's a major shift in the rules around pension credit. If you're of retirement age and have a low income, you may be receiving pension credit to top up your income. In March, the eligibility age for pension credit will be adjusted, and it will now be in line with the state pension age. This change means that if you've been waiting to claim pension credit, or if you've recently reached the pension age threshold, you could see some increased support depending on your situation. This is particularly important if you're struggling to make ends meet during your retirement, as the amount of pension credit you receive could provide significant financial relief. It's worth checking to see if you qualify for any additional support, especially if you've reached the state pension age recently. In addition to these changes, there's also going to be a review of benefit deductions. If you've been overpaid benefits or received an advance payment, the DWP will be reviewing the current rates at which deductions are taken from your payments. This could mean a higher or lower deduction depending on your circumstances. If you've been receiving an advance on your universal credit or any other benefits, now is a good time to double-check your monthly payments and ensure the deductions are being applied correctly. If you're unsure, you can always get in touch with the DWP for clarification. Understanding how deductions are affecting your payments will help you plan better and avoid any surprises when you receive your monthly allowance. Now, let's talk about one of the most crucial aspects of modern life: energy bills. The rising cost of living has affected everyone, but the cost of energy has been particularly high in recent years. Thankfully, the DWP is making some adjustments to the support available for those who receive benefits. Specifically, if you're eligible for winter fuel payments or cold weather payments, these will be increased starting in March to help with higher energy costs. If you've been struggling to keep your heating on during the colder months, these additional payments could provide much-needed relief. It's important to note that these payments are usually automatic for eligible claimants, but it's always a good idea to check your eligibility and make sure everything is set up properly. Another big change coming in March is related to child benefit. If you're a parent, particularly if you have children under 16, you're probably familiar with child benefit. Starting in March, there will be an increase in the threshold for when child benefit payments are reduced for higher income families. If you've been impacted by the child benefit tax charge in the past, this change could benefit you, as more families will now qualify for the full amount of child benefit without reductions. This is especially good news for families where one or both parents earn a higher income but still have children to support. If you've been facing reductions to your child benefit in the past, be sure to check the updated thresholds to see if this will help you. Additionally, there's going to be a review of the benefit capital. The benefit cap limits the total amount of benefits you can receive if you're living in the UK, and the government is now going to review the current cap limits to see if adjustments need to be made. If you're someone who's been affected by the benefit cap, particularly if you live in an area with high housing costs, this review could mean a change in your benefit entitlement. It's important to stay informed about these changes because they could have a direct impact on your financial situation. If you're worried about how the cap might affect you, consider seeking advice from a benefits advisor or contacting the DWP directly to get more information. Another important update involves income tax changes and how they impact benefits. Starting in March, there will be adjustments to income tax thresholds, and these could directly impact the amount of support you're receiving, particularly if you're on universal credit. The changes are designed to better align your benefits with the new tax brackets, so if you've had a change in income recently, it could affect the amount of universal credit you're entitled to. Be sure to keep an eye on your payments and check with the DWP if you notice any discrepancies after the changes. Moving on, there's going to be a reform of housing benefit. Housing benefit helps people on low incomes cover the cost of their rent, but in March, there will be changes to how this is calculated, particularly for those in high rent areas. The government will be adjusting the amount of housing benefit available based on local rent levels and property sizes. If you live in an area with high rent costs, you may find that you're eligible for a larger housing benefit payment to cover the cost. Conversely, if you live in a lower rent area, you might see a reduction in the amount you're entitled to. As always, it's important to stay updated with the new guidelines and adjust your budget accordingly. Finally, there are some small but important changes to Job Seekers Allowance, JSA. The DWP is tweaking the way JSA claimants are assessed for work search requirements and job readiness. These changes are aimed at helping people get back into work more quickly by ensuring that the support they receive is tailored to their individual needs. If you're receiving JSA, be sure to check the new requirements and ensure that you're meeting them to avoid any potential issues with your payments. So, there you have it. These 12 benefit changes are all coming this March, and they could have a significant impact on your finances, so it's essential to stay informed. If any of these changes affect you, make sure to check your benefit statements and reach out to the DWP if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.